Good morning. You're watching Black Box Broadcasting. This is Boogie with a little True Patriot Talk. With us today is Mike Gill. You all know Mike Gill from state of New Hampshire. I always get it wrong. It's State of Corruption, New Hampshire, State of Corruption broadcast. You have seen him viral all over social media right now. So you can't tell me that if you're on social media, you don't know who Mike Gill is. I brought him on because I wanted to get Mike's take on the Silicon Valley Bank closing, and hopefully he could bring us up to date on this whole slew of other things. So good morning, Mr. Gill. The testimony is now yours.
Good morning, Dave. You know what? I'm glad this is the subject, because people are not getting the true picture of really what's going on with Silicon Valley Bank and even the banking in general at this point. Can you hear me fine, Dave?
Yep, I can hear you fine, Mike.
Okay. So, and in fact, we did a video and included this most recently on Brendan Lee O'Connell on YouTube. Now, I want you people to understand.
Let me touch you for one quick second. So you finally have gotten onto a broadcast with Brendan?
5 of them.
Oh, okay, because I've watched all of them where he talks about you, but I've missed any of them that have you on with him, and I will get to YouTube and I will find them and I will start posting them all over. But
yes, most the last 4 have me in them.
Good.
So I want people to understand this. You have to understand the size of this corruption across the country, okay? And understand what I believe is the largest industry in this country is corruption. And when I talk about corruption, I'm including the protection network of the drug cartels and the serviceness of that protection. So in other words, understand this. We have protection, we have money laundering, and we have the actual criminals, such as the drug cartels. And there's more too, such as insurance companies, pharmaceutical industries, and insurers, all entities that are acting corruptly, that have to hide their money, whether they're taking it in kickbacks or they're taking it in bribes, or it's the sale of drugs. Okay. Now I want you to imagine, how about this? Let's go back to the cocaine wars and through Miami in the 80s. It's a historical fact at this point that the skyline of Miami, with all those condos, and was built with cocaine money. There was a point in the country that Miami had 50-60% of the capital. The cash in this country was in that city. So imagine what now focus on that one city. Now imagine this kind of drug influence across the country. That money is in those banks. That money from regional banks to big banks. Now think about it. What did we find in the state of New Hampshire? I turned around and found the corrupt. I found the corruption where the Attorney General's office was controlling any kind of prosecution, any kind of judgment, that those same AGs would become judges. And they made a network of corrupt judges, hit judges. From the same AG, they became your banking commissioner. They became the director of Department of Revenue, auditing networks. See what I'm saying? So it was a takeover from within the state. But what they were selling was this protection. They were selling protection to drug cartels, for instance. Human traffickers are one and the same. So what they would do is that these cartels were opening their own banks, were controlling their own banks. So by controlling the banking department, you control the auditing process. They weren't being audited, they were being protected.
So was Silicon Valley Bank, in reality or in theory, however people want to word it, were they a cartel bank?
Not in theory, in reality.
Okay.
And I'm going to bring it home for people to understand this. So think about this. There's banks across this country like this. Now, this $932 billion. So what brought down Silicon Valley Bank was a run of, it's somewhere between 42 and 48 billion. 5% of what's hiding in the state of New Hampshire alone. Another 300 billion in the Pandora Papers in South Dakota. So that's 1.2 trillion dollars.
Did Silicon Valley Bank have branches or have banks in New Hampshire?
Well, we're going to get to it.
Okay.
So the thing here is understand how much capital that is. Again, the defense budget of the United States, which is 2 or 3 times the rest of the world combined, is 700 billion. That means there's 935 billion in the state of New Hampshire, a quarter of $250 billion more than the defense budget. So what we've got to do is you've got to find out who owns that money.
Yep.
And another 300 billion in South Dakota. Now that you've got this protection, law enforcement's not arresting them. The DEA is not arresting them. And you've seen me go to the DEA. You've seen me go to the FBI. Not once, but dozens of times. This is part of the protection network. So the problem is, and the weakness is, and the vulnerability of these cartels and this corruption is their laundry, is how they clean their money, which is why New Hampshire was picked, a small state. Now, let's bring this Silicon Valley Bank. Now, understand this, Silicon Valley Bank group. So the real company, the parent company, is Silicon Valley Bank Group. And under this group, they have 3 or 4 entities. Which one of is the Silicon Valley Bank? Well, one of their other entities is the Boston Private Bank and Trust.
Boston Private Bank and Trust. I got to interrupt you there. If I remember correctly, there was a bank with that name operating out of a building in Winthrop Square. Now, this would go back to the mid 80s through the 90s, because there was it looked like a greenhouse.
It may not be related. But
okay, well, I know that you had to have $1 million or more in order to get to bank in that bank. It was a private bank that was set up for millionaires.
All right. Well, this is also a private bank.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's in its name. Okay.
Okay.
But understand this. This is an asset and part of the company of Silicon Valley Bank Group. Okay. This is one singular entity. Now, if you look at Boston Private, you're going to find out, do you know what it is? It's a New Hampshire corporation. Wow.
Ooh.
Guess what else?
Ooh, follow the money.
Its description, you ready, is a foreign profit corporation. Not domestic, foreign profit.
You mean the Boston Bank and Trust is a foreign bank, not a quote unquote domestic bank?
Well, it's a foreign profit corporation. So what that means? So now let's keep going now here. All right. Yeah. The agent for Boston Private is called CT Corporation. They look like a broom closet in Concord, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
They've got a little nameplate, and the address is like 2.5 It's like a half an office. So it's the front for billions of dollars, and it's a broom closet in Concord, New Hampshire. So now let's roll this back again. Who is part of the owners, the directors of this? Oh, Bill Greiner,
Yep.
the money man for the cartel in New Hampshire, the chairman of the board of Primary Bank. Well, wait a minute, let's keep going. Let's take a look at previous directors. What did I tell you about the Attorney General's office running cover and protection within the state of New Hampshire? Well, guess who the directors were?
Bill Shaheen has to be in there somewhere.
Well, no, we're talking about the Attorney Generals of the state.
Oh,
Foster and Delaney.
Okay.
So the entities that protect, right?
Yep.
As in being the Attorney General of the state, two of those Attorney Generals are directors of Boston Private Bank and Trust. It is the cartel. It is their protection network. They are part of Silicon Valley Bank. You see what I'm saying? Now, Don't forget, what is the Pandora Papers? Hidden ownership under trust or LLCs in the state of New Hampshire. That's exactly what this is. That's exactly what Silicon Valley Bank Group is. That is a principal entity. Now, so that's a direct pipeline into the state of New Hampshire with the same drug cartel that I caught. Now, so what happened with Silicon Valley Bank? Well, let's take a look. We've had a couple. We've had, what was it called? Silver Trust Bank, Signature Bank, and now Silicon Valley. You know what their commonality is? Because it's a clear commonality. These are the failures. Besides failing, they're tied to crypto. Like FTX, money laundering. Again, those are the banks that are failing now. So the commonality is crypto. The commonality is money laundering. The commonality is drug cartels. Well, let's take a look at FTX. There was 20 crypto billionaires, and they're connected with FTX. 4 of them were murdered in a period of 2 weeks. 4 of the 20 were murdered, 30s and 20s and 30s. You know why? Because they had information and evidence with the cartels. They were fronts. It was cartel money. They weren't billionaires. It was who they're working with were billionaires. They're tied to FTX. Did you know that FTX is a New Hampshire corporation, a foreign asset corporation in the state of New Hampshire?
I did not know that.
Right, that they have an office in Derry, New Hampshire, right next to the drug cartel bank Primary, which is completely owned by the cartel, which is also an example. For instance, if something went to happen for the cartel and large cartels across the country, you'd have bank failures. You'd have runs on banks. You know why? Because the cartel would know of an investigation before anybody else, and it would stop pulling their money out.
So is that what happened with Silicon Valley Bank?
That's exactly what happened.
It wasn't necessarily the Oprah Winfrey's wanting to pull out their $500 million, or the startups in Silicon Valley wanting to pull out their $60 million.
Here you go, Silicon Valley. Well, let's get into that. First of all, so in other words, the people who would have pulled out would have been the cartels. They would have known the investigation first. So what would it look like? It would look like there was some investors that were going to get hurt that didn't know. There wasn't an association with drug cartels and money laundering. And then they would be the ones that would hurt. In other words, listen, this $932 billion in one state, they're talking $42 billion We're talking 900 billion. They wouldn't have an influence on those other banks. Of course they would. What's happening in Arizona is that they're dealing with the Sinaloa cartel. They're dealing with a political organization that's completely corrupted, just on the same framework that happened in New Hampshire. The Attorney General, the Secretary of State, your banking department, just like what happened in New Hampshire, which is why I'm speaking with them. It is a methodology. So now here's this. Now think about this with Silicon Valley Bank. What was its principal thing? First of all, ready? Accounts that are uninsured are over $250,000. Okay.
Right. Yep.
The average American has 5,300 in the bank. Okay. So do you know the amount of uninsured money in Silicon Valley Bank was 97.3%. That means only 2.7 of the whole bank was 250 or less. Where we know the average American's got 5,300. So we're not talking to average investors here. We're talking large sums, not a lot of customers, large sum customers. Now let's see what is the business of Silicon Valley Bank. Well, they do startups.
Yeah.
Startups, right? All right. In fact, they had 500 startups recently, all from Israel. 500, all with Silicon Valley Bank. So they're taking all this money, venture capital. Let's call it venture capital. And you know what they're doing? They're sending it offshore, like in Foreign Profit Corporation in the state of New Hampshire. So it goes offshore. Do you know that 80% of businesses go out of business in the first year? Now let's think about this.
But not with $60 million in the bank.
Well, here's the thing. They turn around and they create a startup, like a broom closet. They turn around and get, 100 million, and boom, they go out of business. The money's lost. And remember, the money is never lost. It's transferred. So the money gets transferred over, I don't know, Israel. The startup disappears, and all that money you sent over there is now sitting in Israel.
Okay.
That's money laundering 101.
Now with that, there are all kinds of rumors going around that Elon Musk has an interest in Silicon Valley Bank. He said that one of his main interests in it is that that's the bank that he would put the 44 billion that he bought Twitter into, and if he bought it, and make the payments to whoever he bought Twitter, because I guess he didn't just upchuck the whole $44 billion in one payment. And then he would connect it to Twitter, like every social media network has a bank that they're affiliated with, that their members can use for banking as well as online purchasing and all of that other fun stuff.
Right. So why did Elon Musk buy Twitter?
Personally, I think he bought it because he couldn't buy Facebook, and he wanted to do something in social media, and it was basically Mark Zuckerberg 101, where Zuckerberg built the network to operate Facebook, and before that was finished and online, Zuckerberg bought every company that he wanted that was already doing something Facebook wanted to do, so that it was turnkey when he turned it on in 2004. I think Elon Musk was smart enough to know that he owns the Starlink satellite, so getting any platform that he owned beamed around the world would be there. But in the grand scheme of things, like I said, it's faster to have something that's turnkey rather than building something from the ground up and hoping people join it, advertisers come to it, and all of that stuff. But I know you're going to tell me that it involves banking and everything else. So
No, I'll tell you. No, I think you missed it. The whole thing. Are you
okay.
ready?
Yep.
First of all, it wasn't a good investment.
No, it
He
wasn't.
lost billions. It wasn't a good investment. A turnkey, it was filthy to the core. You had the FBI in there. You had shadow banning and screening. There was part of election fraud. They were blocking the Russian investigation. They were blocking Biden's with his laptop. It wasn't turnkey, and two, it wasn't an investment. So it clearly has to be something else.
Okay.
You know what that something else was?
I want you to tell me.
Elon Musk understood that part of fighting this corruption is the American people need communications. We talked about it here and why I go on podcasts and why when we talked about going viral, which is starting to happen on larger and larger platforms. Why? Communications. Because in any war, and we're in a war, people, whether you believe it or not, and we're in a war against, evil, not just corruption. The first thing your enemy takes out is your communications. If we are the majority, which we are, they are the minority. Their one plan, their first order of business is to divide you. Look around the country. We are not divided by politics, by religion, by race. People, that is by design. That's how the few control the many, by division. What do they say? Divide and conquer. Well, That's exactly what they did to each and every one of you. Twitter, and you could say Facebook, but Twitter was the number one communicator between all of us in this country. That was how we can't trust the media. The media was bought and paid for. The same board members that sit on the pharmaceutical boards are the same board members that sit on the media boards. You have Fox, you have CNN. It is the picture of division. What makes you think either one of them are telling you the truth? Look where we are. When have you seen them come up with drug cartels and human traffickers? Even corrupt politicians. They give you dead-end things like Biden's laptop, only to have the have the FBI stop it there. Yeah. Where are the results? Who went to jail from the swamp? So let's go back to Elon Musk. This is a smart guy. By buying Twitter, he opened those lines of communications. He's giving it back to the American people. I don't care if you like him or you don't like him. I'm smart enough to turn around and realize he did it, and it wasn't an investment. And the important thing, and think about this, even with myself, I'm expanding through Twitter. I'm reaching out to different organizations, different podcasts that are seeing me. So it is working. So right. I am telling you, that could have been his only intention now.
Well, it was his only, it's being presented that was his only intention was to clean it up. But
I believe so. Think about this.
Turnkey, right. But being turnkey, meaning that it was already up and running, and all he had to do was go in and clean it out, like he claims he has done.
Well, he's probably not finished yet, but that's not
right. No. I don't. Well, it's always going to be a work in progress. But cleaning it up to where it was, if he had decided that he wanted to launch from the ground up a brand new social media network that had no membership and had access to the world's largest network, meaning Starlink, the Starlink satellite, it would have taken him a long time in my knowledge years to grow a membership that would continue to use it and attract advertisers that would continue to pay to operate it. I mean, Facebook operates on this thing called premeditated social media. That to me, and what it is basically is, like I said, they understood what they needed to have on Facebook. And
you know what?
Zuckerberg is independent and he bought it all before.
I don't see it that way at all. And as a guy who's bought businesses and sold businesses, I don't think that pretense is correct. You ready?
Okay.
When you buy something as corrupted as that, it's easier to create something. I mean, didn't Trump create Truth Network?
He did, but
okay.
But it took a while. It took a while.
It didn't take that long, and guess what? Elon Musk isn't Donald Trump. Musk was the wealthiest guy in the world, or number two. He had the intelligence, he had the money, he had the technical. This guy could have put it together quicker than anybody. And we've already seen it work. But this is what, and to turn around and take something rotten, it's harder to change that face of it. One, because you've already have a bad reputation. You've already alienated almost half the American people. You turned around and had it infested with the FBI. You already had it infested with corrupt group of people. So in other words, you weren't turning the key unless you were unlocking the door to kick. Well, wait a minute, to kick these guys out. That's what he did. Did he go in there firing them all?
He was doing that. He was taking the old files that Jack Dorsey was stupid enough to leave on Twitter mainframes and anywhere else. He hid them and posting them live. And if anything, that brought anybody who was on Twitter and got booted from Twitter, as well as anybody who was interested really in what was going on, and he was publishing those files. And the exact thing will be a boom for Facebook if and when Mark Zuckerberg, it'll never happen, but if and when Mark Zuckerberg decides to go back to 2004, and we're in 2023, so we're talking about 19 years of what happened behind the scenes on Facebook, and publish the Facebook files. Because if he ever says, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this, I don't think he will.
Of course he won't do
it. Twitter will go down the toilet, because everybody's going to come back to Facebook to read the Facebook files.
No, see, the thing here is, first of all, you'd have to have someone with the money to buy it. Secondly, you'd have to turn around. It won't be Zuckerberg, because he's uncovering all the things that he was involved with. Won't happen.
Right.
You know what? Elon Musk didn't come. He was one of the few people that had the money that turned around. And you know who knew that? Elon Musk. Yeah. You know, when you have this kind of money, you're not doing it for profit. Do you think you're the richest? No. So in other words, it wasn't profit. It wasn't business. It wasn't that he couldn't put a startup up, and it would have been easier. It would have been billions of dollars cheaper. Why then? So you got to keep turning the page. So
I've been holding a thought in the background that because Trump built Truth Social, and he built it pretty good on his own, then he formed the digital acquisition partnership, and then he partnered with Rumble, and maybe my thought behind the scenes was that Elon Musk will continue to clean out Twitter, make sure it's operating honestly and above board and everybody's seeing what they need. Then he's going to sit down with Rumble and Truth Social and say, let's just merge it all together.
No, won't happen. Because you need contrary opinions. He's not necessarily for Trump.
No. I'm not saying that it has anything to do with being for Trump.
Right. get to the point being is, and the question was, why did he buy it? So in other words, you got a merging, but we didn't answer why he bought it.
Okay.
Okay, so why he bought it was because he eliminated the corrupt. Twitter was dangerous in itself. Twitter was being used with the FBI and covering up and interfered with the elections of this country. If Biden's laptop information came out honestly in the beginning, it would have had an effect in the election. So when you want to talk about election fraud, that's election fraud. So don't forget, we're also talking about why he might be interested in buying the Silicon Valley Bank. Okay, so let's go. This is the point I'm making here. He bought what was corrupted. He bought an entity that was part of the destroying this country. He bought an entity to allow us to communicate again. It was easier to create a new company. He made a point to destroy what was corrupt. That was the purpose. So we already know that he's in that line. He's traveling in that direction. You know what Elon Musk knows about Silicon Valley Bank? It is money laundering. It is drug cartels.
Did he have money in there? He hasn't come out and said
No.
anything.
No. Don't miss the point. The point is, isn't that what he did by buying Twitter?
Yes.
He eliminated an entity of corruption and made it something that was valuable, something honest, the means for American people to communicate, because we have to communicate because our way out is through organization. Right. That's why you open this door. Listen, guys that wealthy and that smart are thinking moves ahead on a chessboard. Don't look at what's obvious and think and read from that. It's what's not obvious is the truth. Now, by taking out buying Silicon Valley, first of all, you're buying it next to nothing, right?
Yeah.
And creating something that's going to be honest, something that's going to be, Musk knows the banking system is going to be under attack when people find out about the drug cartels and the depth of this corruption and the fabric of this country. Listen, when you go into New Hampshire, these people own businesses. They are the largest real estate holder. They are the largest residential and commercial. Well, guess what? That's the same thing what's happening in Arizona. So you could have an economy, okay, collapse by the withdrawal of those monies. In fact, that is what the cartels are threatening by pulling their money out. Except for that money is blood money. That money is killing children. So Elon Musk, by buying a bank like this, would have used his billions for solvency, to put your money into a safe place, knowing that the issues, just as Twitter's issue was connected to this cartel, not the corruption in the cartel, by corrupting our systems, by putting in corrupt politicians. He knew that the banking system is the next shoe to fall. As I'm telling you, it's the next shoe to fall, which is why you're having reverberations. It isn't because the interest rate spreads. It's because they're vulnerable because of crypto. Think about this. How big was FTX?
Yep.
And think about this. Who was, other than George Soros, who was the number one donor to political candidates? FTX.
Yep.
Who was the number one person he gave money to? One politician. Senator Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire.
Yep.
Who's guarding the gate of the Pandora Papers. You understand? We're playing chess here.
Okay.
Moves way ahead. Don't start thinking what's obvious. I'm going to merge here. I'm going to do, and don't do that. Understand what this guy's doing. From Twitter to the banking, he knows the solvency issue. He knows, and you know what? He's the one guy who has that capability because of his wealth. He lost wealth. You don't think he knew that was going to happen? Of course he is. What you've got to understand, we need communications. He just gave us communications.
Right.
We need solvency in banks that you can trust to put your money in, that the cartels don't turn around and get a phone call and go dump. That's what he's doing next. I'm telling you, this is a move of a smart man. I don't care if people like him or not. You know what I'm saying?
I am fascinated with him in ways that I can't really explain, because I see the humanitarian. I see the man that says a lot of things that he says and does a lot of things that he does. But then I look at it as, is he part of the corruption? Biden wants by 2030, I don't know, a major percentage of all cars on the road in America to be electric. But is he doing that because that's the right thing to do? Or is he doing that because of some corruption he's involved in? And
well, it's not, listen, I'm going to tell you something to look at about the corrupt, okay? Well, you just mentioned Biden, and now we got Elon Musk. What do you think the greatest separation between the two are? Right from the surface.
Biden is so far corrupt that
Biden's an idiot.
Right. Well, when I say Biden, I mean the people that are pulling the puppets.
Well, let's start with Biden. He's the president. Right. Biden's a puppet. He's a moron.
Right.
Elon Musk is a genius. How's that? Now, listen. Let's turn around and take it from there. There's a hell of a separation. You know what the genius doesn't need your help to do? Make money. Make money.
Yeah.
He turns around and he creates and he uses his intelligence to turn around and invent to make money. This guy's an inventor. He's not corrupt. He's an inventor. And what he turn around, in other words, does it make sense for us to have electric cars? Sure. Now, do these guys grab onto it and try to make money with the green bills? Of course they are, but they're corrupt.
Right.
And he knows that too. So I would also tell you then, let's look at his actions. Elon Musk, he did buy Twitter. All right, now that he bought Twitter, did he open it up? Did he stop the shadow banning? Did he out the FBI? Now think about this. I mean, so in other words, this is what American people got to stop paying attention to. Watch what they do. Don't listen to the static out there. What you're hearing is from people that are corrupt. You know what the corrupt's favorite thing is, and what they do to whistleblowers and what they've done to me?
Yes.
You ready? You attack the man to destroy his message. Okay? Watch what Elon Musk did. Did he turn around and leave? He outed the executives at Twitter. I mean, the most dangerous move that could be made is outing and exposing the FBI. These are the people that are the head of this corruption. They are the head of the protection network.
Was Jack Dorsey more than what we saw? Just the guy that was the creator of technology, launched a website with I don't mean to insult anybody, with a stupid idea of text messages that seemed to take off? Or was he, before he even launched Twitter, was he corrupt? Or was he corrupted by the very forces that Elon Musk is booting out of Twitter? Was he corrupted because he brought those forces in?
How about this? This is all we have to know. And this falls under the line of what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is look at their actions, look at their deeds, look at what they get done. What did Elon Musk do? He outed the FBI. He outed them. He insinuated that these elections were fixed because of it. So in other words, there is his actions.
Right.
All right. You want to know what Dorsey does? Who Dorsey is? Well, he allowed the FBI to do this. As they're feeding us what we should think and do, he allowed the elections to be corrupted. That was so, in other words, Judge them on their actions and their deeds. Just as like we have to stop listening to politicians and their promises. Listen, promises don't pay the bills. You've got to turn around and it's got to be actions.
Right.
Stop following titles. Start following courage. What Elon Musk does, he opened that up. He's talking about with the banking. I know the next shoe to fall. And you know what? So does he. He's positioning himself. It may just come a day where people understand that he was a patriot. And he may do it for all the reasons why he became a wealthy man. And sometimes at that point, you have an appreciation. You know what America doesn't realize? And I'm realizing it now because I'm dealing with so many foreigners. Next week, I'm on radio in England. I'm working with people from Australia and France. What America doesn't appreciate is that we are the guiding light of this world. They're turning around as our freedom is freedom and representation around the world. People from foreign countries are fighting for, like, for instance, Brendan Lee O'Connell. He's Australian. But he understands the importance of America. He understands that for us to be broken down and beaten, it's got to be from within. You know, were we attacked with COVID? You're damn straight we were. Everything's about losing control. What do they want to go to? A digital currency. Control. 87,000 IRS agents armed, controlled. What does the few have to have us do? Be controlled. They control the media to divide us, including social media. And that's what he made a path to. So judge a man on his deeds. And the next move going there, I could see him doing that. Based on the same corruption that he saw here, he's seeing the corruption in banking. He's somebody who thinks ahead. And that's what it is. Guys like Biden's been corrupt for 40 years. You don't think the FBI knows this? This is what people have to understand in this country. Ready? This is important.
Okay.
Our elections and our politicians are controlled by extortion and blackmail. Extortion and blackmail. Okay? Why? Because they're extortable. Because they're blackmailable. Because they're thieves and they're cheats. And that's how they got to this position. That's what it is. So in other words, what was Epstein and what was Maxwell?
30 New Hampshire money.
Well, what they were money launderers.
Yep.
Listen, were there pedophiles? Sure they were. But the thing with these pedophiles and their associations are the same names that are in the Pandora Papers. You don't think Clinton's name's in there? You don't think Biden's name's in there? Well, let's see. Let's look at the relationship.
Clinton's name is in there, but his name is in there. Actually, both their names are in there, but Bill just insists that he had the privilege to use the Lolita Express to travel around on other business, not that he was in fact traveling to the island.
But look at the connection with Bill Shaheen, the architect of the Pandora Papers. He was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager. His wife, Jean Shaheen, and Senator Hassan, her protege, were VP candidates for Biden. I mean, so if you're them and you're stealing and cheating, say for 40 years, who would you pick but somebody that you trusted completely as of Bill Shaheen?
Right.
What do we know already? 932 billion is in that state. What do we also know already? That Congress has the names of that money through the Ways and Means Committee investigating the Pandora Papers. What was it? Foreign journalists discovered that money coming back into this company. They tracked it to New Hampshire. They tracked it to South Dakota. What did they call it? The largest investigation and the largest laundering network in the world. In the world, and it's here, and it's there. And you know something? If they picked a small state to protect it. So Musk going after the banking, that's going to be a result of pulling this cash out. We're going to have a vacuum effect because they are your largest real estate holders. They are. In New Hampshire, they're opening casinos on every corner to launder their money. But here we go. We can start from a position of strength then. Let's cut out the corruption. Think about this. Exactly what you did with Twitter. Cut out the corruption and rebuild it from a solid foundation. You understand the importance of the communication that it's never going to be used again, which is why he bought it. Because then you take out the corruption and you turn around and say it's never going to be used again to alter elections and lie to the American public. And this thing with the banking, you're not going to worry about banking failings because these businesses that are owned by the corruptest fronts, they're going to be gone. That's going to open possibilities for people in this country to open their own businesses. And never, never forget that those businesses, those casinos, when you go into them, are the blood of your children.
Yeah.
You understand the danger of fentanyl is this. They're saying Mexican cartels, Mexican cartels. The Mexican cartels were important, as Colombia was important, because they grew opioids, the poppies, for cocaine and for heroin, right?
Yeah.
Fentanyl is synthetic. It is man-made. You don't need a plant. You don't think they're building factories, manufacturing factories in this country? They are. The same.
So it's not China running it into Mexico and they're getting into here.
See, this about I'm not. In other words, early on, yes, but not now. How listen? Is there something China can manufacture that we can't? Let's look at it logically. Let's be a business.
I would imagine, in all honesty, no, because most of their technology probably came from us anyway.
They're low-end technology. Low-end technology. There is nothing that China can make. How about this? Is there something that Mexico can make that we can't? Remember now, once we get past growing the poppy, it's all man-made. It's synthetic. It's controllable. The largest cartels aren't Mexican cartels. They're American cartels. Our American cartels own the distribution network, hospitals, pharmacies, hospice care, treatment centers. There's the power. They own already the laundering network. It isn't Mexican cartels. It's American cartels. And now it's synthetic. You can cut the middleman out. In fact, one of the evidence that I gave the DEA, and I'm responsible for the largest fentanyl seizure in the world. 80,000 pound capacity tractor trailer full of fentanyl.
Yeah.
Okay. It came with a facility manufacturing in the Boston area. See, you need a Chinese, a chemist? Great. You ship them over here.
Right.
The chemist. You don't turn around and have to. Now, are the borders open? So that should be the next question.
Yep.
Why are the borders open? Because the borders open are the human traffickers, but they're also the street distribution network. That's what these American cartels needed. They were partnerships with these Mexican cartels. The Sinaloa cartel is connected in Arizona and New Hampshire. So they need street distribution. Why? Because you know who your street distribution used to be? CVS, Walgreens. Right. Opioids over the counter. Know what's happened since? Those places settled with the country, settled for pennies on the dollars. They got out of the opioid business because it became too obvious. So now that they're out of the opioid business, that they turn around and need street dealers again. That's what's opening up your borders. It's the partnership with these cartels and these politicians that gave them the streets. And think about this. If you gave them the streets, now let's take a look at it logically again. Let's turn the page logically. So what happened to our streets? We are in a period of the worst crime in history in America. Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, Los Angeles. I mean, Oakland looks like a ghost town. They're destroying the fabric of America from within. So, in other words, not only is it distribution, but they're also more insidious by destroying the family. I mean, look, do you know the age that most likely to have an overdose is 14 years old?
Right.
Do you know the American people, with all the advances in medicine, we're dying younger. What is the one of the largest cause of deaths for I think it was under 35 or 40 something like, but the youngest generation of us is drugs.
Yep. Fentanyl.
Right. So in other words, this is more insidious than you think. This is planned. And this thing with fentanyl is they can make it, manufacture it anywhere. And the thing here is it increases the profits. So when you see these casinos and you see these real estate, and you see how they're evolving, it's the blood of your children. And every time this goes unchecked, they use that money to buy the DEA. They use that money to buy the law enforcement on the street. By controlling the AG's office, you control prosecution from the AG's office. They control your courts.
Do we ever get to a point where when and if President Trump returns in 2024, before he leaves in 2028, do we get a border?
This is more important. Ready? First of all, we act now.
Okay.
We're not waiting for our elections. I mean, do you think these people are right? We're in a war right now. We lose. Think about where we are now and where we've been. And I can tell you, they're moving quickly. With those 87,000 IRS agents, that's moving quickly. We're dying sooner, and with these open borders, how many millions of people came across the border? So what Trump's got to do right now, he's going to use his platform. And listen, I know he knows. Flynn, I've showed the world the Flynn communications with text messages and emails. Flynn's got the evidence. I called the Pandora Papers. I called it the Deep State Money Laundering Network before there was a Pandora Papers. I told them exactly where it was. What did they tell us? 932 billion, exactly where I told you it would be. Trump knows. Stop playing politics. Get off your ass and tell the American people the truth. Tell them the volume of this corruption. And then we demand as a people, and he can turn around and lead that charge by simply saying, give us the names of the Pandora Papers. They're in Congress. Give them to the American people. The American people need to know if their senators on the take. They need to know if their governor's on the take. They need to know that this drug cartel is controlling your courtrooms and owns these businesses. We need to know. If you don't tell us, you're not the guy. If you don't tell us now, you're not the person.
Yep. Now,
just in case, we the people, the American people, and what I'm working with, and I'm going to be on the phone with recording a speech for the Arizona conference, is that it's up to us. We the people organize. We're the plan. Start by saying as a group, we want to know those names. How about this? Did anybody give us the names of Epstein's? No. Maxwell? No. We get anything from El Chapo? You don't think he knew the distribution network? He was feeding it? No. Well, those are not acceptable anymore.
That's the question that always comes up when you and I talk in the back of my brain. We brought El Chapo, put him in a maximum security prison. At least that's what they told us. I would figure that they would get as much information as they could out of him.
Right. They got as much as they got from Epstein. You know why? It's real simple. They don't want you to know. Why? Because it's them. The FBI sells protection.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
is the head of this protection network. It's why we never, I mean, do we really believe Epstein killed himself? Of course not. These people don't kill themselves. They're too,
Right.
not with, listen, we're not with connection, not with blackmail, and not with $1 billion.
Right.
It don't happen. They'd kill 1,000 of you to save their own lives.
Right.
So the thing here, everything is practical, which is why I was good for this job. Because as a businessman, you keep running into obstacles and you find a way logically to keep what I say is turning the page by turning the page. I created the #1 mortgage company by turning the page, the #1 racing stable in the world because I kept turning the page, find out a better way to do something, find out. And that's what I did here. I kept turning the pages. So we've got to approach these things as practically. For instance, Biden's laptop. It isn't so much what's on the laptop. We could turn around and say, okay, you know what? He took money. He took bribes. But it's the next question that scares the hell out of them. You know what your next question is? What'd you do with the money? Where
Right.
is it? Where is it? It's right next to daddy's money. And let's take his ass all the way back to New Hampshire again. Let's go back into those dummy corporations. Fact is, right? What did Hunter Biden's partners say? They were in trusted LLCs,
Right.
right? Dummy corporations. He told us even that. And we're not talking, when they're saying, well, he took, 50,000 here and 100,000. We're talking billions. These guys don't play in thousands. They don't even play in millions. That's not the game.
Right.
The game is in with a billions. That's what it is. That's what they're hiding. Listen, that is the Achilles heel of all of this. They can steal, they can rob, they can poison you, but they didn't do it for free. Find their money and how they clean it, and you turn around and we clean this country up. And the world wants us to do this. Again, don't forget, it was foreign journalists that stood together. And listen, the Panama Papers, right? The woman that broke that story was murdered. They came out with over 100 journalists together because they used that as protection so they wouldn't get murdered. There was too many of them to isolate. But you remember when I came out alone, they tried to murder me 3 times in 13 days. That's the information I'm going to give to Arizona. You go to the FBI, but you don't go alone. You go with a camera and you go with 200 people. You turn around and go to the DEA with the same 200 people with a camera. And you know what you demand? Case numbers. You know what you do with that that video? You put it on social media, like Twitter, who now won't block that evidence. So now all of a sudden you see the importance of an Elon Musk move. And what made him a rich man was seeing something that you didn't see. What made me a wealthy man? Insight. I turned around and was able to maneuver a mortgage company by reading the markets. That's what made me a rich man. Insight. And again, I'm bad at so many other things, but not that. What was I? The best handicapper in the world. What was it? Like playing chess. Variable, putting them together, anticipating. That's who I was. Listen, I did this because I looked to give it to the FBI. I looked to give it to the DEA. I did my job as a citizen, put my life at risk, and gave it to these people to do their job, to only find out that the corruption reached beyond them. So what I had to do because nobody else was doing it. Just like Musk turns around and realized he was the guy for the job, I understand. I became the guy for the job. Not because you want to. I'm sure Musk would have rather a different investment. I mean, a guy like that turned around would rather use his technical mind or inventor to invent something. That's who he is. I ran a mortgage company and played with my kids. That's what I would rather have done. Sometimes our responsibilities put us in a direction, in a position to turn around and say, and let's hope it never happens to other people. What is better for all is beyond the importance of yourself. Even my children, your children became more important than my children because it was all of our children. It was the direction of all of this was going in. So it's that sense of responsibility and humanity. And the problem we have is there's so few people that'll do that. There's where we are. I mean, people have got to start finding their courage. New Hampshire, why were you picked? You still there, Dave?
I am.
Okay, my phone was dinging. Why were you picked? Because they turned around and scared you. They controlled by fear. And you were afraid. I led charges and nobody was behind me. That is the difference between New Hampshire and Arizona. Arizona right now, I sense their courage. And that's what it's going to take. And Arizona can be a domino here. And they're already exposing these people. They're in the infancy of this. So in other words, that's where I can help. I can give them the methodology, the mechanics of how they build it and who to. I mean, you've got to go to the Secretary of State. You've got to turn around, realize what the AG is doing, the banking department's doing. I mean, we are in a critical time in history right now. We win or lose, I think, here and now. I think this year, 2023, will be historical. Good or bad?
It will be historical. I'm looking at the clock. It's 11:10. I know you said you have to be on the way by 11:15. So I'm never pushing you along, but give us a closing statement and go and record that speech and then post it all over Facebook. Let us know about it. And hopefully we will get people there watching it. You still here, Mike? Okay. Mike did tell me before we went on that he had a 11:15 appointment to record a speech that is going to be used in Arizona next week at a conference, and we may have lost our connection with him as he is getting ready to do. It is 11:10. You're watching Boogie with the Bull, True Patriot Talk. This is our Saturday morning program. Goes 10 a.m. Eastern until 12 noon, the absolute latest. And we are live this morning on the Dave Globin profile on Facebook with a live chat. We are on in the Boogie with the Bull page with a live chat. We are on in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group with a live chat. We're on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel with a live chat. And if you follow Boogie WT Bull, the Boogie with the Bull Twitter account, you can watch Boogie with the Bull broadcast live on Twitter. We are working on Rumble. I hope to have that set up next week. We're all over social media with groups. We will start posting the broadcasts. We're on MeWe. We are on StreetLock. We are on Gab. We're even on American Patriot Social Network. American Patriot Social Network, which is AmericanPatriotSocial.com. You see it posted all over Facebook by me. The Hardcore Conservatives group is there. So we're kind of growing our little network of networks in 2023. Michael Anthony is back, and we did about 45 minutes of last night's Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk. During the week, we're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday at either 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. And I believe sometimes the Friday can go 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and sometimes later. We will generally be done by 7 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday if we're doing evening broadcasts, because I want you to be over on the American Rebellion blogger page here on Facebook, and you watch the American Rebellion, take part in the live chat, and or be on the broadcast if it works well for you and the folks on the broadcast. Let's see. Michael Anthony, as I said, is back. And you want to go to the Michael Anthony Facebook page with the red, white, and blue 10 o'clock talks profile picture. That's the right Michael Anthony, because there are more than one. So be on the right one and become his friend. That way you will get a notification every single time that he is going live. And you'll see his promo posts that he is going live, and make sure you work that into your schedule and you watch. If you can't watch live, make sure you watch the podcasts afterwards. When we can, we will get them posted in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group. That's our new baby that we're working on. And if it grows, and continues to grow, then all of the private groups, except for American Regulators and Conservative Freedom Defenders, will probably close, and we'll focus more on the public group for Boogie with the Bull stuff. But American Regulators and Conservative Freedom Defenders will remain private groups. It's just easier to get it all into a public group that everybody can watch. So like I said, this morning, we were live on the Dave Globin profile with a live chat, the Boogie with the Bull page with a live chat, the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk group, public group, with a live chat. If you were watching on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, you can be in a live chat. If you're watching on at Boogie WT Bull over there on Twitter, because you're following at Boogie WT Bull over there on Twitter, you can watch the broadcast live. There is no live chat. We're still looking at the content creators package at Twitter. We hope to finalize the Rumble Boogie with the Bull channel this week and start being live there as well. And you can also see over here on Facebook, and I believe on YouTube, and I'm not sure where else right now, the Patriot Cowboy Coffee Show with Randy Griesenbeck comes on. I'm not sure if he's back on a regular schedule yet, or just whenever he is available to do one. Tune in and watch him. Events that we want to let you know so that you focus on and become a part of. Soup Mama Official will be back in East Palestine, Ohio on March 26th. From what I understand, it will be a convoy leaving different parts of the country that will meet in East Palestine, Ohio on March 26th, Saturday, and help distribute all kinds of things that they have collected for the good people of East Palestine, Ohio. On April 15th, which is also a Saturday night, I believe, at Cove 51 nightclub in Cincinnati, Ohio, there will be a benefit concert for East Palestine, Ohio. You do have to pay to get in. It's $25, and proceeds will go to funding stuff that needs to be routinely dropped into East Palestine, Ohio. So make sure you are there. May 13th, do not forget the Faith Over Fear rally over in Loganville, Ohio, a Lucretia Hughes event. Randy Griesenbeck and a bunch of musicians will be there as well as a bunch of other important people that you want to hear speak and meet and talk to and share your views on what needs to be done with them. I don't know if I will be there, so I'm not promising that I will be there. We will carry as much of it live as we can. That's May 13th from Loganville, Georgia. Again, we're working behind the scenes right now to make sure we do have a live link for that event. If you have a live If you have an event happening anywhere in the United States that is of interest to anybody on Facebook, really, I was going to say conservative patriot event, but it doesn't really matter. If you have anything that is helpful to Americans going on around the country, even if you have to aim your cell phone camera at your face and turn it around and show the crowd or happenings at your event, please let me know, and we will try to get you onto a Boogie with the Bull broadcast. If it's a Saturday event and we can go live with you from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, please let me know, and we will get you on. Also during the week when we can do a 5 to 6 or 6 to 7 or a 5 to 7 broadcast, whatever we can do, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will try to get you on to talk about that. Also Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, the 21st of March, Boogie with the Bull Morning Caffeine broadcast at 7:30 Eastern will start. They're just an open call. It's never any planned broadcast. I do sometimes invite specific people to be a guest, but it's more like FM super caffeinated jock morning show, getting on and enjoying a cup of morning coffee with anybody who is watching and just having a conversation with you watching. All of our broadcasts right now are live on the Dave Logan profile on Facebook, the Boogie with the Bull page on Facebook, the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group on Facebook. Those three have live chats. So if you're watching in any one of those groups, or locations, destinations, they call them, you can be in the live chat. You can be on the Boogie with the Bull YouTube channel, subscribe to it, and you can be in the Boogie with the Bull YouTube live chat. Over on Twitter, if you follow at BoogieWTBull, the Boogie with the Bull Twitter account, you can watch the broadcasts and you can retweet them all over Twitter if you feel so inclined. We're still working behind the scenes. We will have something on Twitter. We will be able to live stream to Twitter once we set it up. And the broadcast will probably be more like 15-minute drops or 30-minute max, because it's hard a lot to watch an extended broadcast over on Twitter, and we're going to work on that. And like I said, we'll get Rumble worked out hopefully before the end of next week. And I'm still looking for people who are always interested in trying a broadcast of their own, conservative patriot broadcast of their own, to see if they want to do it. It's Boogie with the Bull Boot Camp, and you do a couple of broadcasts with me and the crew at different times on different days to see if you want to do it. And if you do, then we will help you download and set up the free 20-hour a month StreamYard kit, and help you with your 20 hours a month. And if you decide that you want to do it, and you need a live producer, not necessarily a guest, but you need a live producer, then possibly our StreamYard will be available through the pay it forward process. And there may come a time when we politely ask you to get your own and go from there. Trying to work on future projects right now, which are internet radio station sometime before the end of the year. Right now, that's just looking at the costs of a studio, because that needs a dedicated studio for it. And if we can do that and whip it together and have it built here in the Fleming Island area, that will be the main studio. And hopefully that puppy will be up and running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Times will be available. The only thing I'm going to say on it is that if you need to monetize your broadcast and you're on the internet radio station, you are welcome to include, depending on the length of your broadcast, we'll figure it out. You can have that in there, or you can scroll across the bottom of the screen. You need stars, or you want Venmo, or whatever you want for people to do on your broadcast. The internet radio broadcast will be broadcast live on Facebook. If you don't want your face on Zoom because you're doing internet radio, then you can work with us with our Night Owl Productions graphics team, and they can produce the slides that you'll need for your broadcast. And the audio will then be possibly live on the radio station, the internet radio station, at the same time. That's just something I've always wanted to do. And like I said, before the end of 2023, we will have it in place and ready to go. Roku TV, yeah, I would like to be like to have some blocks on a Roku TV channel, but the investment to get a Roku TV channel is not possible right now. So if you have a Roku TV channel and you are looking for conservative Patriot programming, talk to me, and I'm sure we can whip something together. Streetlock Live may happen, may not. I really can't tell you. Hopefully they'll see this when we drop the podcast of today's broadcast over on Streetlock, and maybe they'll jump with that. American Patriot Social, AmericanPatriotSocial.com. They are interested in the podcast right now. They're not able to have live streaming. So if you do a conservative Patriot broadcast, join American Patriot Social Network, AmericanPatriotSocial.com, and at least post your broadcasts in the Hardcore Conservatives group, and possibly form your own group and post your broadcasts in there as well. That's the best way we can help Trevor and the great people over at American Patriot Social Network. If we get the Boogie with the Bull Streetlock Live channel, people will be invited to join us on that channel. It will be something like a YouTube channel on steroids without the censorship that you get on YouTube. And if it happens, it happens. The other way we have tried to accommodate people on Streetlock that want to have their broadcast on Streetlock is with the creation of what we called a Streetlock show group, where you create a group on Streetlock and you post your broadcasts to it. There are ways that your YouTube broadcast, if you have one, can be linked to it, and the newest one will post each day until the next newest one is done, and they just keep recording over them. They don't ever change the link, but at least your broadcast is showing there. It's probably possible to do that over at American Patriot Social. It's probably possible to set it up over there on MeWe. Maybe, I'm not sure. But we are trying to work a way of getting everybody's broadcast all around social media as much as we can. Please, if you are a conservative Patriot blogger on Facebook or a conservative Patriot broadcaster on Facebook, regardless of your view of Dave Wilman and Boogie with the Bull, please join the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group and post your broadcasts in there. We will help you share them. At a point right now, I'm able to share Facebook links just about anywhere on social media, and they come up pretty. They come up on the Facebook watch screen, and you can watch the broadcast. If you're not a Facebook member, it gives you an opportunity to join Facebook, or it gives you an opportunity to log into Facebook and watch the broadcast there. So I prefer to share without Facebook links, because if you're doing your own broadcast and you're doing it somewhere that I can take the link from and share it, then you're not under the control of Facebook. If Facebook deletes your broadcast and we post it on half a dozen social media networks, that would love to have it there, and they delete it for any reason, then it disappears from all of those social media networks as well. And we don't want that. We don't believe in any censorship. Don't censor the groups. Don't censor the broadcasts. Don't censor people that do broadcasts with me. It's just about getting you information that you need to know about so that you can start thinking, you can start so that you can start connecting the dots and you can start doing what you think you need to do. I will give you ideas, bring on people that can give you ideas, and it's up to you to decide what, if anything, you're going to do. I did say that I enjoy hosting live event broadcasts on Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk broadcasts, only because I'm not capable of traveling to everything and being there in person everywhere. And it's still important to do what I've been doing for the last 3 years on Facebook and YouTube and other places, and posting conservative patriot broadcasts and events on social media so people can see them and decide whether or not they want to be involved. So again, Soup Mama Official on her Facebook page is planning a return to East Palestine, Ohio on March 26th. I do not know if it will be a convoy of people that will meet in East Palestine, Ohio on March 26th, or whether or not they will all just travel to East Palestine, Ohio and be there on March 26th. So if you're going to be traveling to East Palestine, Ohio, and whether you're in a car and can safely do a broadcast while you are on the road, or can do a broadcast with me on March 26th, we can have up to 8 people, me and 7 others right now, on a Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk broadcast. If you are going to be traveling to East Palestine, maybe we can get a group of people that are going to be traveling and do a live broadcast with you on your way there. And then, like I said, on Saturday, March 26th, we would like to do a Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk 10 a.m. broadcast Eastern time with all of you that are there on that day. Then we move to April 15th at Cove 51 nightclub in Cincinnati. There is a benefit concert, costs $25 to get in. Proceeds will be used to help East Palestine, Ohio, recover. That's all the information I can give you on there. And I don't know, because it is a concert including music, that we will be able to live broadcast it because of copyright materials and all of that. We're working behind the scenes to see if we can, but if it is more of a pain to set it up, then perhaps we can get a camera in there and record as much of it as we can, and then air it on the Boogie with the Bull page. Can only do what we can do. So let me see, where are we now? It's 11:31. We can go another half hour, but I think I'm going to wrap it up. We did, in fact, do what we accomplished. I enjoy having Mike Gill on. Mike Gill is the host of State of Corruption, New Hampshire, and State of Corruption, both over there still on YouTube. He's a guest frequently on other broadcasts, some on Rumble. So if you look, you will be able to find him. If you go to the Nationwide Freedom Family group, or you use the hashtag Nationwide Freedom Family Presents Mike Gill, you will be able to get to the latest Mike Gill broadcasts on Facebook. If you come into the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group, you will see this broadcast there. We did share it all over Facebook. and hopefully they will post it. Some groups, I guess, are declining the broadcast because they don't allow broadcasts in. They don't allow broadcasts or live videos in their groups. As we make note of that, we will stop sending it to those groups. You will find them on the Dave Logan profile. You will find them on the Boogie with the Bull page. You will find them on the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot public group. On the Boogie with the Bull page, you can watch the broadcast. You can be in a live chat, but you cannot share the broadcast from there. On the Dave Logan profile, you can watch, be in the live chat, and you can share from there. And on the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot group, you can watch, be in the live chat, and you can share from there. So everybody share the broadcast, invite your friends to watch the broadcast. You and your friends be a part of the broadcast. And next Saturday at 10 a.m., we will be back. I don't have a topic for that broadcast. When I don't have a topic, it's just an open broadcast. And we come on and have a conversation of news that you might need to know about. And we discuss it with the live chats, and I hope that everybody gets involved and gives their input. And in the course of doing that, sometimes if I'm solo by myself, I'll invite up to 7 people to come on the broadcast and take part in the conversations. I do want to thank Danny Campbell, who has watched more Boogie with the Bull broadcasts than anybody else in the 3-year history of Boogie with the Bull. Sherry McCoy-Balaco, always a pleasure to have you watch. Sherry does watch when she can, watches live when she can. When she can't, she watches the podcast. And to the best of my knowledge, she does do some sharing. That, I think, pretty much covers everybody that was in the live chat on the Dave Logan profile. I have to monitor that on a separate monitor. If you want to make it easy, watch in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk group. Watch it there. But before you go in there and watch, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, StreamYard.com/Facebook, and give StreamYard permission to use your Facebook username and profile picture in the live chat. Makes it a lot easier. It all shows up on one screen. And everybody who makes a comment or asks a question does, in fact, get their comment or question read and even highlighted on the air like this. Like, if Sherry had been on the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot group, public group post of the broadcast, then that's what you would have saw, but you would have saw that Sherry was watching. I want everybody to be involved. I want to be able to flash everybody's name that is watching a broadcast. And if you make a comment, I want to be able to flash the comment on the screen, or you ask a question, I want to be able to answer the question or at least discuss the question. And that's just the way we want to do it. 8:30 tonight, I believe Michael Anthony is on with, I'm going to scroll back. It is Help Save America. Now, Michael Anthony live tonight. I believe it's 8:30. It might be 8 o'clock. But go to the Michael Anthony Facebook page, become his friend. Scroll down and you'll see the graphic. Has America become a ticking time bomb? The broadcast is Help Save America Now. Michael Anthony live tonight. America in Crisis on Facebook. Watch that broadcast. Share it everywhere you can on Facebook. Take the Facebook link and share it off of Facebook if you can, and just help get information people need to know and start thinking for themselves about, because that's what we do. Tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern on the American Rebellion blogger page here on Facebook. Watch the American Rebellion with Jerry Michaels, Nikki Young, sometimes Robert Lawless, the Minnesota Madman. I don't know if Jen Woodruff, the homeschooling mom, is on Saturday nights. She's usually on Monday, Wednesday, and sometimes Friday. Randy Rhodes, Facebook genealogist to everybody, is on there a lot. I'm starting to get in the rhythm of wanting to be on a lot, or at least be in the live chat watching. So if I forgot someone who was on a lot, and I didn't mention you. I apologize. Our thoughts and prayers still go to Stephen Tolliver and his family. Stephen had heart issues, ended up in the hospital, and I don't know if he is back home with his family yet, but our continued prayers go to Stephen and the Tolliver family, and we hope that he is back with the Crazy Horse Fireside Chats that you see on Facebook, as well as being in the live chat on the American Rebellion, and maybe sometimes even on the broadcast. A J6er, and has really been, for lack of putting it better, bent over the keys and abused by our federal monarchy, and has interesting stories to tell you about that whole endeavor. But anyway, let me see what it is. It is 11:38. We've done an hour and a half on the Saturday, March 18th, Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk broadcast. I invite you to come join me next Saturday at 10 a.m. We don't have a topic set up now, so it may just be open discussions. As I said earlier, you'll see the promos all over Facebook, especially in the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk public group. And if you have an idea for the broadcast, respond on one of those posts or message me and tell me, and there's a good possibility that you will be asked to be a part of the broadcast if that's what we're going to bring up, or that section of the broadcast when we're discussing your idea. I will invite you to be live on the broadcast. Anyway, I'm Dave Logan. You're not. Thank you for the privilege of letting me abuse your time. We'll be back next Saturday at 10 a.m. We'll be back, Tuesday, the 21st at 7:30. We'll be back with a Boogie with Bull Morning Caffeine. And then you just have to look around Facebook and you'll see when I'm on, or you'll see promos of when I'm on. So, again, thank you for letting me abuse the privilege of your time.